If you're concerned whether kegging beer is complicated and expensive, this video is for you. This is the best and simplest kegerator setup I've ever had. If you don't know who I am, I'm Big Rob from Make Beer Easy. I give you simple brewing tips in order to make beer easy. Let's get into it. So you're going to keg beer. This is not a kegging video. I'm not going to show you how to keg. Stay tuned on my next videos because I've actually got a beer brewing that I'm going to be transferring, and we'll talk about kegging at that time. But if you're newer to home brewing, or you've been home brewing for a while and you're making your beer and you're putting it into bottles, and you're thinking, you know what, a lot of work involved in cleaning the bottles, doing all the good stuff to the bottles, filling them up, sanitizing them, etc., and you want to get into kegging, but you say, oh, geez, now I've got to get a kegerator, I've got to set up some sort of system where I can have cool conditions in order to carbonate the beer correctly, and how do I do that? Well, I'm going to tell you, this is one of the best setups I've ever used. It's very simple. It's basically just a Danby, what do you call them, apartment-sized freezer that you use. Again, it's a smaller size. I don't know what size it is. You can see it apartment size. You need yourself a, it's called, this is the brains behind the operation. It's called an Inkbird. This bad boy here converts your freezer into a fridge. Okay, so what that means is when you're kegging beer, you obviously don't want to put it into a freezer at freezing temperatures. That's bad. You're going to have a beer sickle. No good. Well, it's better than a normal popsicle, but it's not what we're aiming for here. You use an Inkbird, and this in essence turns your freezer into a fridge. So you plug the good old Danby freezer right into the Inkbird itself. You plug that in. It says cooling or heating, and I'm not going to give you a full tutorial on how to use this. It's very straightforward. It comes with instructions. It's easy. Cooling, we're going to go. And then you plug the old Inkbird into the wall. You set this to freezer temperatures. So I don't know, we're going about 3 degrees Celsius. So Fahrenheit, for you Fahrenheit people, that's probably about 38 to 40, I believe, is what most people set that at. And then you've got, in all essence, a fridge. Okay, so it's beautiful. It fits 2 corny kegs, and you can either use a 5-pound CO2 or you can use a 10-pound CO2, and they both fit. 5-pound you can actually put on a little shelf, so there's a little more room with the 5-pound, but the 10-pound does it too. Then what you're going to do is, I don't have my keg here with me because it's presently soaking and cleaning because I am doing a kegging day, but you're going to use the corny kegs, the old pop kegs. They're very inexpensive and they're all over the place. You can check out my blog. I got all kinds of links. I'll put a link to a place where I'm going to make a blog post out of this. I'm going to put that link under this video. You can click on it and then I'll put links to where you can get all this equipment. So you're going to need your CO2 tanks, of course. You're going to need your corny keg, which again is just the old pop kegs, and you're going to need the Inkbird, and you're going to need some Danby apartment-sized freezer. It doesn't have to be a Danby by any means. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get yourself a picnic tap. Okay, this is what you're going to pour from. So you're going to plug that right into your corny keg, and then it's beautiful. You just open this up, pour your beer into it, you're good to go. The other beautiful thing about this is, if you're like me and you like clear beer, unless it's supposed to be hazy or juicy or what have you, but every other beer you like it to be clear, that's one of my things that I'm adamant about with my beers. It's one reason I let them ferment as long as I do. You want to cold crash for 2 to 3 days. A lot of people don't have room in the fridge to put a full freezer or a full keg in there. Fermenter in there, even though you even if say you're using bottles and you still want to have clear beer, a lot of people put it in the fridge. That's what I used to do. I used to have a garage fridge where, when I was bottling back in the bottle days, I still bottle a bit. Don't get me wrong, I do like bottled beer. I'll make enough in a batch to be able to bottle a bit as well. That's what I do. But back when I was bottling, I had a garage fridge, and I would put the fermenter into the garage fridge, and that would in turn cold crash it. You can use this bad boy for doing that. Okay, now it's not big enough where you can get a typical fermenter in there with the keg, so you're going to have to kind of rotate it through, which is fine, works good for me. What I started with was, you can even, if you want, I don't have an example because I don't do it anymore, but the little apartment size fridges, you know what I'm talking about, the little tiny ones are just little apartment size, not even apartment size. I mean, people in apartments don't use them. I don't even know what the hell you use them for. A little extra drink size fridge, the little tiny ones. I use that instead of this because you could plug it in, and it was, as long as you use the 5-pounder CO2 size, I could get that in there with 1 corny keg. So that works too if you want to start it that way, but you end up having to rip off half the insulation on the door and stuff just to make it fit. So much easier, so simple. Do this first, then you can move up to a kegerator, which I have a kegerator as well. But this is so much easier for cold crashing and just a simple process. You don't got to get into taps. The picnic tap works wonderful, does great, and it fits 2 kegs, like I said, and it'll fit either your 5 or your 10. So that's what I got, guys.